Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Behind the Groove podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington. Thanks for watching. And dude, okay, so before we go to this first review, I want the
Mm,
both of us to make an executive decision here
mm,
that we will not spend a lot of time on
mm.
this, whatever they want to call this, a movie or whatever. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm not even going to like edit this joint up like with clips and everything. This is going to be a straight one because this one was terrible. We are talking about Cosmic Sin with Bruce Willis. Dude, oh my goodness. Look, check it out, right? So this is IMDb. This joint has a 2.5 rating out of 10.
Yeah. Well, I looked it up right when I was about to watch it because I like to see who's in it and stuff like that.
Right.
I was like, 2.5? This seems harsh.
Yeah.
No, not
No,
harsh.
dude.
I'm putting it right now. This movie's a 1 out of 10. Right now,
This
I'll call it 1 out of 10.
Okay, so you're being really nice because I wasn't even going to rate
Oh,
this
you're going to
movie. I
give it
was
0. Like,
This joint is a negative something. It's like negative 12 or something. Yo, this movie here,
it's so
it
many
is
problems.
it's so many problems here, right?
I don't
Um
know who Edward Drake is. I think that he's like probably somebody like fresh out of college or something like that. I don't know. He's done a little bit of work, but like it's like an assistant to somebody.
mhm.
He wrote this movie with somebody else. Like his name is Corey or something like that. Terrible job writing this movie. The
This
dialogue is bad. The pacing was terrible. The logic, like they wanted to be this epic, super Star Wars type movie and have the military thing in there, and they misfired on every aspect of it,
every
from the
aspect
special
of it.
effects to the acting to the tone to the
Mhm.
script to the directing. They ruined everything. It was all
Really,
bad.
it was bad. Really quickly, just give a very extremely quick overview of what this movie was all about.
So
Just very quickly.
basically, mankind is in the future. Like I think it's like 2,500, 2,500. That's the
Yeah.
year,
I think it was
and
2538 or something like that.
something like that. So
Hmm.
they're in the future. They're traveling through space, and they have their first contact with aliens.
Yeah.
And then it goes south, and they accidentally bring the aliens back to Earth,
Yeah.
and that goes south. So they decide we're gonna kill everything on Earth in the universe. This
75
is our
million.
plan, and we're gonna
Crazy.
bring. You're gonna use Bruce Willis to do it. I'm like, this is no.
Yeah.
The logic, the morals, everything about this is terrible. Everything is terrible. And the thing is, though, to me, the concept, the
Hmm.
argument that you made for the movie
Yeah.
could have been turned into something really good. And it doesn't. I think that a lot of people feel like, oh, we got special effects, we got the cameras, let's go shoot a space drama. Like, no, you can't do that. If you don't have $200 million, stop right there, stop.
Yeah.
You need to tone down what you're trying to do and bring it down to, like there's a lot of movies that have like stuff that's like just in the boardroom. Like have you seen the movie from Alfred Hitchcock? It's called Rope, and basically takes place in
Yeah. Uh-huh.
like an apartment building.
Right.
What I'm saying is, like, if you don't have the budget, you got to focus your thing down, narrow it down, make it smaller. So you could have done the same concept, but in like like a room in like some kind of army base room, whatever. Like you could have done that with talking to the people in space, your astronauts, whatever, your
Hmm.
soldiers. You could have done all that stuff from the base, and give the just a slight overview, some views of the other stuff. Like you got to scale it down. It's
Yeah.
too ambitious. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Terrible director.
Hmm.
I think you need to do like a small thing first and then do something big. And here's the other problem too. And this is one of the things that people appreciate about Marvel. Marvel movies are cookie cutter, but it's a reason for that. Because they have a lot of directors that don't know what the hell they're doing. So they're like, hey, we're gonna get our first whatever
Hmm.
director. And they're like, okay, great. That guy's a director in name only.
Hmm.
Disney's over there overseeing the special effects and making sure this thing goes together and flows correctly with the rest of the movies.
Yeah.
All you're doing is saying action and cut. That's all you're doing, really. This whole thing is taken care of for you. You just show up on the day and you get to sit in your chair and you yell cut. That's all you're doing. And this is the type of movie where this guy needed some help from somebody who's more accomplished.
Yeah.
Like somebody who had a little bit more skill. Like even look at Zack Snyder, right? He had a Nolan on it. Christopher Nolan was the guy that said, "Hey, we're gonna follow your lead, and you come in and do the Superman movie." But Christopher Nolan was the one that was in charge of the project, not Zack Snyder, because he
Yeah.
hasn't done enough stuff. Like he had 300, and he had some other stuff. But like even for 300, you had somebody bigger as a producer that was on set, being like, "Hey, you can't do that. This is beyond
Dude,
your scope, or you don't have the money for that. So let's kind of do this. You
this
need that."
movie this movie felt like a student project, right?
Yes,
Just
that's what I
like it,
said. It feels
like,
like
and I'm talking about like a high school student project, right? Whose parents had a little bit of money, and they gave
mm-hmm.
this, their child, I don't know, $500,000, $1,000,000 to make a student film to like, just outdo everyone else in high school. And there was so many wrong things they got in this movie. Like for instance,
Mm-hmm.
when they went off to whatever the planet was called, this was a planet that basically had trees, oxygen. It was like Earth, right?
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was just like, well, why not just, why didn't you colonize it or whatever they were trying, right? And then, the movie, because it was in the future, 2538 or 2558, something like that.
It did not look like the future on Earth. It looked
Okay,
awful.
you mean to tell me 400 years, 500 years into the future, we are still driving pickup trucks in 2538. We we don't have things flying taxi cabs. Nothing. We have pickup trucks.
This is the thing, though. They don't have the budget, and it showed. So they're like, well, we're just everybody else does. We're gonna tape some silver things on the front of the car. Now it's a future car. So
Yeah.
they did that for Looper.
Right.
They put some piping on the back of a car. Now
Yeah.
it's a future car.
Mhm.
Don't ask any questions.
And then
Like,
you
all
had
right.
Bruce Willis. This seems like a farewell sort of like film for him because this was terrible. I'm quite sure he got a bag. He's Bruce Willis. I
He's
mean,
got
Bruce
money. He's not
Bruce
hurt.
Willis is a Hall of Famer. I like Bruce Willis. I like his
I
films,
like
but
Bruce
this
Willis
film
too.
right here, this joint was corny. It sucked on all levels.
The
Just
tone.
the tone, just the difference between like what the future should look like in 2558 or 38, whatever it is, compared to looking at other films when you're like in 2300 and it's like way more advanced or something like that. I don't know what the
Yeah.
budget was for this film, but I can't imagine this being over $100 million. I can't even imagine that.
This is impossible. There's no way it could have been. But like, you had to pay. There's big actors in there. That Frank Grillo dude,
Yeah,
he's a large actor.
I like him,
He's in a
man.
bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He's in the Marvel stuff. He's in the what's the movie about the everybody? There's a murderers legal or whatever. I forgot what it's called. The Purge.
Yeah,
He's in the Purge
exactly.
movies.
Yeah, he's
He's
pretty
in a
big,
bunch
man.
of movies.
Yeah.
He's a well-known actor. He's not like that. I think he's the Bruce Willis and him are the only two people that I think have done enough work to be like, oh, this doesn't look right. And
Yeah.
somebody should have been like, hey, I don't know what's going on here.
How do you
'Cause
think they were able to bring in those two actors?
they got cut a check or they did a favor for somebody. It's one or the other. It's probably like hey, my friend's cousin, he's a director. You guys got to help me up on this, and we're gonna finance your movie for whatever else you're gonna try and do, because they do that all the time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So those are two things. Either you cut them a crazy check, no questions asked,
Yeah.
and you paid off all his debts or whatever, or they're doing a favor so you can do something else later on down the road, or you really owe somebody because you vouched for somebody or you did something wrong.
Dude.
But two guys doing something wrong, this seems kind of far-fetched. So my money's on the bag. Somebody got paid.
And then
That's my money.
the whole thing about like the quantum bomb. The first one killed 75 million people. A whole planet destroyed an entire planet. and then they were going to
That
do this
quantum ball
again.
was laughable.
That was, I
So
mean,
hold
like,
on,
you mean
you
to
had this
tell
little
me,
marble.
listen, this is my, it's not chapstick, but that's just like a name. This is
It was a
how large,
marble. It was the size of a marble.
this is it right here, the quantum bomb
Yeah,
right here, yo, for real.
it was a size of a marble,
They were
and
touching
that's
it and
the.
holding it, like, oh, it's
Why
not going to
were you?
explode, really.
Why? Okay, hold on. Why did they like basically parachute through the space? Why wouldn't you fly a spaceship through this thing? That seems insane. That you just because you know it were a lot of this movie reminds me of Halo. I don't know if you played the game Halo.
Yeah, I did a
With
little
Master
bit.
Chief, like he's flying through the atmosphere and he's doing all this other stuff. He's got this big, oversized, mech suit on or whatever. It
Yeah,
all of that stuff remind me of Halo. So I think
right.
like they tried to do some of the traveling through space through the slipstream and all. So this Halo, there's a lot of Halo stuff in the show or the movie, and it wasn't done well at all.
But the
Because
even the mech suits, right? They were like shoulder pads, football shoulder pads, elbows, knee
and then
pads, some
nothing
shin.
else.
They didn't have anything on their biceps, nothing on their forearms. It's just like you're traveling through space with a football uniform on, dude, and a helmet. Come on. I mean,
I
this
can't.
movie was so bad. I mean, this movie's, I mean, I was a
See,
little
but what were
disappointed
the mech suits for? Because it wasn't like they made
traveling
you
through
bigger, or
space.
stronger, or whatever.
Traveling
They're
through
not. They don't
space.
look. They don't look like you would survive
They don't look
traveling through space.
spaceable travel. They don't look
No,
space
like okay,
travelable,
we
if
talked
that's a
about the
word.
expanse, but if you look at the expanse stuff that they put on when they go out in space, like
It's
it looks like
mechanized, dude.
that
Yeah,
looks like something you would wear out in
that's what I
space,
mean. Yeah.
and the year 300 years from now. That's
S-
what that looks like. That
Speaking of,
that pads or whatever, like
yeah,
I
that
don't even
like
get me started.
you listen, and then Bruce Willis, he came and got his old mech suit, and it's just like, oh, dude, we have it
Why
here,
was that still there?
because
They
we
kicked you
knew
out the
this would happen
army.
again. They kick you out the army
They
because you killed 75 million people. Come on.
they kicked him out of the army for
Mm,
genocide. Why would they keep your stuff around?
mm,
They would never want that around in the base to remind them of whatever happened.
yeah.
That guy he'd be done for. He got into a fight at the beginning of the movie. That's how much they hated him. Why would you keep your stuff around? Why
And,
wouldn't he have it?
listen,
I don't know.
this movie, we're gonna wrap this up because this movie sucks so bad. We I can tell that this movie was trying to be sort of the expansisk, if it was trying to be a little
It was trying to
expanse
do a lot
type,
of stuff.
right? And I was
It was
just like,
trying to like.
well, wait a minute, you're really far away, with this here. It's like, because they started out by giving a little explanation, like, okay, and this time, blah blah blah, you had these three factions, blah 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 blah. It's just like, no, dude. Okay, listen, forget that. What, dude? Give me your rating on this movie because this,
I give it
I
a
don't know.
I I only give it a 1 because
I
Frank
want to know why
Grillo
you
and
gave it a
Bruce
one.
Willis.
Why'd you give it a
Look,
one?
because I like Bruce Willis. I like Die Hard movies.
Yeah,
I like Moonlighting.
yeah,
I'm a big fan of Bruce Willis, right?
yeah. Hmm.
And this hurt my heart watching this poor guy in this
Hmm.
movie. Because you could tell he's like, well, that's not how you do that. All right,
Hmm.
whatever.
I'm
You're the
getting a
director,
bag.
whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know anything. I haven't been in Hollywood for 40 years. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, whatever. That's what he looked like during all
yeah,
these scenes. This poor
yeah.
guy, both of him and Frank, these poor guys. I feel sorry for them, so I'm giving them pity 1 out of it. That's it. That's the only reason. Otherwise, you
Okay,
would get a 0.
okay. I am giving Cosmic Sin with Bruce Willis a 0. This movie is a
Well
0.
deserved. Well deserved.
And I am so happy that this movie was only an hour and 28 minutes. It should have been like an hour, really, 45 minutes. It would have been a better movie if it were an animated movie, believe it or not, because you could do
Oh
goofy
yeah,
things like that, But
you
no,
could do stuff.
yeah,
Did this movie reminded me like of an episode of Stargate
yeah,
where you go to the planet and it basically looks like Earth,
Yeah,
and he just
exactly.
paint people green or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's what it looked like. That's the visual effects budget they had. Episode of Stargate from
This
1996.
this movie was so terrible. I'm giving it a 0. It's no. I mean, I don't even know why Bruce Willis did this movie. He obviously got a bag. He got a bag. He got a big bag. You know.
I feel bad that he's attacked. Like his face is all over this.
Yeah,
I saw when you told me about this. I saw Bruce Willis. I was like, oh, okay, good.
that's
It's
what
a
I
good
thought.
movie, all right?
Yeah. I was
All
like,
right,
this is
nice.
Bruce Willis. I
Yeah,
also
check
think
this out.
before we like sign off on this one is whoever was the director or whatever, they had some sort of relationship. You would have to think that they may have a relationship with someone at Netflix for Netflix to even release this. The only way Netflix probably
How?
said, I can release this, but it's corny. I'm going to release it, but we need a big star. And they gave Bruce Willis a bag, you know, and that's
Yeah,
how, you know,
that's the
that sort of
only way.
happened. Yeah.
I think Bruce Willis was on the golf course. And he got a call. And he's like, "Damn it! All right, let me finish this round, and I'll go do this movie real quick.
Dude, it is like
Get some money.
terrible.
It's,
That's
it's a
that is
recession, like,
during the lockdown.
during a
And
lockdown.
we've watched a lot of movies, and during the
Mhm.
lockdown, I'm going to say within the last 3 to 4 years, this has been the worst movie I've ever seen in the last 3 to 4, maybe even 5 years. This is the worst. A 0 for me. Done with that.
I have to rack my brain about the worst movie I've seen because I've seen a lot of bad movies and I just stopped them. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't do that right now.
Right. So
So
you haven't
I don't
really
know. I gotta
watched
rack-
a bad movie.
I have to. Yeah, you're right. You know,
Right.
technically you're right.
Mhm.
But like, I have to think about it, and maybe I'll come back to you on my with the worst. You know what? That's what we're gonna do for the next show. The worst movies we've seen during the lockdowns and all this other stuff.
Can they be
That's what we-
animated too?
anything, the
Okay.
worst anything that you've seen. That's what the next show is gonna be about.
But you
So
know,
let's
we
just-
like you just said though, you know, sometimes if you're watching something and you're like, you know, 20, 30 minutes in and you're just like, this is really bad, you just turn it off.
Yeah, it's not gonna get better. It's not.
Yeah. It's not.
It's not. So
Well,
you know what? We'll make a list.
Yeah.
I'll make a list and I'll tell you what my worst movies are.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I'm DJ Keo. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for listening. And until next time, peace.